So we have another question. Motorola Moto. I want to make sure we get everyone in here. Moto G Stylus asked, "Hey RJ, what was it that caused you to get into the business and your favorite wrestlers growing up?"
I don't remember not wanting to do it at any point. There was no like, oh, I just thought this is something that I can do. But it was also this and the Muppet Show. So there was some distortion in my brain where wrestling felt like the last vestige of what I wanted show business to be. Like in show business, that whole kind of thing, that avenue really closed in terms of old show business. Wrestling, however, is still vaudeville. I
It's
don't know why
camp,
we
right? It's
haven't.
camp. It was the camp that attracted you.
So I actually just said this to Taz because we sometimes argue in the hallways. And he said, I know you do your thing, your campy thing. And I said, Taz, this whole business is campy. I said, you can't tell me that I'm campy when you were barefoot and you had a fuzzy one piece on. And he said, yeah, but when I was in the ring, it wasn't campy. I said, the fact that you were murdering people in the ring actually makes this more campy.
More campy.
Right. Because no one's getting hurt. Right. Exactly.
The fact that this is so serious that it's legitimate. So whatever. But
did he get it? Did he get it?
He does get it. He just likes, I think, likes breaking.
Yeah, much to his chagrin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that about Taz a little, right? It's covered a little bit here.
Yes.
But yeah, you hear that a little bit about Taz, that maybe there's a little bit of believing the work a little bit. Can we say this?
Well, he did say to me, we're going back and forth, and he said, if I was, whatever, I would double leg you right now. And my response was, what would that prove? I'm pretty sure you could. You would never lose to me in a fight. You don't need to fight me.
If you're 5'1" and you are built like a spark plug, and you can get underneath a giant person and dump them on their head, and they're giving them your body, is that really a skill set?
Right.
I will say he was a fine episode of AEW too, especially when I brought up that he lost 2 matches to Jim Powers. Talk about your shoot interview.
Right. Good thing you didn't bring up RVD in the locker room or 911, who had him pinned to the ceiling.
Yes.
Much.
Yeah. I'll leave those ones up to you.
I heard Tony Khan was quoted as saying, "You pop him."
Who? That I pop Tony Khan?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, I mean, I would guess so. I don't see any other reason why I should be in the company. Tony, it turned out, knew all my stuff. He quoted stuff back to me from stuff I had tweeted, from stuff I did, and it blew my mind. I will also say, he knows a tremendous amount about the history of wrestling and everything that's going on up to the minute in this business, but he also knows an insane amount of old movies, an insane amount of random 90s sitcoms. And I think I've spoken to him more about the sitcom Wings than any piece of wrestling. Big Steven Weber guy.
Wow.
I met Steven Weber at the Salt Lake Comic-Con this past year, and he and I became like, we just started talking, and we're out in Salt Lake City, and it was just like we just realized within like 3 breaths that we were probably the only liberals in the green room. And it was just like we just kind of just like bonded. But
who was in the green room? You, Scott Baio, Dennis Miller. Who else was
JBL.
there?
Oh, geez. I mean, it was
Kane.
Val Venus.
The hell is Val? Val's maybe a libertarian.
No.
But he's right. He's a right wing.
He's got the Trump for dictator flag at his house.
How could he be such an early proponent of legalization of marijuana?
Because he doesn't want to go to fucking jail for something he can't stop doing.
Last I heard, he believes the government shouldn't charge you taxes. Like he's that far libertarian.
That's called Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Guys,
That's
get
just
your
because Wesley
questions
Snipes
in.
got caught fucking not paying for 30 years.
But Tony Khan, I was hired directly by him. All the stuff I've done in AEW, he's been responsible for. He said, "Why don't you come in and do?" I did a thing in a car with people for a while. And he said, "Why don't you do sit down interviews too?" And then, other than that, no one has given me one note. No one has looked at any of my questions. I don't know why, but I mean, how can I be nothing but blessed? They give me 10 minutes and they say, "Hey, you can tell Jeff Hardy that he's no Walt Whitman," and we'll just leave it in.
Or better, you could tell Paige she's a pale Samoan, which
also
is
what I
brave
did.
nowadays. That is a favorite moment of mine.